name's Kerstyn, if you don't know. I've been... Oh man, I really wanted to start my talk by saying I was Katniss, but I just forgot.
Start over.
I am Katniss Everdeen. Have an accent. I wish I was. Okay, anyways, I'm Kerstyn. I've been leading at Hickman for like a year. It's so great. Oh gosh, I love it so much. It's been a great year. And so a little bit about myself. I always have a fun fact because I have a twin sister, which is the coolest thing ever. She leads Young Life at Rockbridge.
What?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
What if one day they switch?
That would be weird.
She's very nice. I'm from St. Joseph, Missouri, if you've never heard of it.
St. Joe.
Eminem's from there.
I was just there the other day.
Pony Express is
I met a girl there.
Jesse James, Sherry Mash, just so many great things.
Jesse James is still alive?
In St. Joe right now.
Oh, okay.
Some other fun facts about me. I love McDonald's dip cones. Gosh, they're about to go away and I'm real sad. And I'm a student teacher at Parkade, so I'm going to be a teacher one day. And I love it.
Okay.
Yeah, I love it a lot. I will be in 2nd grade.
Yes, the best grade.
Okay.
What
What she said.
It's my favorite grade.
So, if you guys were here last week, our friend Katie gave a talk about Zacchaeus and Jesus and just how Jesus found him worthy and how she kind of had you guys question whether you think that Jesus finds you worthy or finds you good enough. And then tonight I just want to challenge you guys to ask yourself, just at the end of my talk, just try to think about maybe trying something new or something different. So first I want to start with, I mentioned I'm a student teacher at Parkade Elementary, if anyone ever went there. Probably not.
Wow!
If you did, it's great. But so when I'm student teaching, I was in my 1st grade rotation. Oh gosh, they're so funny. And the 1st graders are very dependent. Like they cannot do anything on their own. Every single thing they do, they have to come up and ask you and get approval and just ask for so many things. So they're very dependent and they just have a lot of needs. Everything they do, they need my help or the teacher's help. And a lot of times they want things. So, but they only have one solution because that's the only capacity that they have. So for example, I have such great stories. When they want a friend, I've literally heard kids say this. They'll be like, "Hey, ugly, you finna be my friend?" What? Like, obviously, they're not gonna be their friend. Or I've seen them try and be friends. They go down the hallway and just like accidentally pop someone in the head. No, like no.
That's how I make friends.
But really, or they want the teacher's attention. I swear. Do y'all remember the safe seat?
Yeah.
They want. Listen, so they want the teacher's attention. I had a kid pee in the safe seat one time for my attention. What? You peed in the safe seat? What? So other examples are. Oh gosh, so many. If they want to express that they're mad, I have a little boy named Chevy, and he kind of has Chevy Love. Actually, it's a great name.
Chevy Love.
But
He's a reality TV
show. So when he expresses that he's mad, he doesn't know how to express it. There's only one way, and literally he gets mad, and he like flips on and off the lights and like shove the bookshelves, and then he starts screaming. And he doesn't like scream, but he's just like, that's all he knows how to do because he doesn't have another solution for his problems or for things that he's going through. I have lots of other stories that, oh gosh, if you want to know, just they're so great. But long story short, these kids want things and they only have one solution for it. So just like we've been hearing about these people, backtrack. Just remember that as my 1st graders, they have needs and desires just as we do as people. So I'm going to tell you a story in the Bible about people who tried something new. This story is in one of the Gospels, Mark, and a little bit of context for it is Mark wrote it. He was one of Jesus' disciples, and he was at this point in time, Jesus was traveling around preaching all over Jerusalem and teaching people things. And crowds began to start to follow him. They found him attractive for some reason. They saw something in him that they wanted, something that they needed, and they decided to follow him. So I'm going to read a little bit out of here. So this is a story about how Jesus feeds the 5,000. And it says, the apostles gathered around Jesus and reported to him all they had done and taught. Then, because so many people were coming and going that they did not even have a chance to eat, he said to them, come with me by yourselves to a quiet place and get some rest. So they went away by themselves in a boat to a solitary place. So Jesus he was tired. He wanted to go off with his friends. He'd been teaching and preaching and just healed and performed so many miracles. Him and his friends just took a boat. Do you have that, maybe? At this point in time, I believe they're in Bethsaida, this little town right here. So they basically just took a boat, probably out somewhere along the side of the Sea of Galilee. And so these people, they're following him, and okay, I'm going to keep reading. Sorry, I'm a little... And then they say, but many who saw them leaving recognized them and ran on foot from all the towns and got there ahead of them. When Jesus landed and saw a large crowd, he had compassion on them, because they were like sheep without a shepherd. So he began teaching them many things. So, long story short, they went out on a boat, and these people ran to like the shores to follow him. They were so intrigued by him and wanted to know so much about him that they followed him out. And at this point in time, what I just read, it talked about how Jesus had compassion on these people. And Jesus could have easily been mad that like 5,000 people, like groups, tons of people were following him. And he easily could have been mad. He was tired, he was maybe cranky, and but he loved them and had compassion on them. He recognized their need and addressed it in that moment. So then, back to the story. By this time, it was late in the day, so his disciples came to him. This is a remote place, they said, and it's already very late. Send the people away so that they can go to the surrounding countryside and villages and buy themselves something to eat. So there was, like I said, there was about 5,000 people there. So the disciples decided, this is impossible. There's no way we can feed 5,000 people. As you read on, it talks about how they only had like 5 fish and 12 pieces of bread. So it's impossible. So the disciples send the people away. And if you think about it, they only had one answer to this problem. Kind of like the kids, the first graders that I deal with. Their brains can only think of one solution to these problems. Which is kind of how we think sometimes. We feel like we only have one way or one answer to our problem. And examples of that are... if we have things that we want or we need, sometimes maybe we want a friend or we want friends, so we change who we are. We change our morals and beliefs to hang out with this crowd or to hang out with this person or that person. Or we want another person's attention, so we go out partying with them, or we just do things that aren't true to ourselves. Or maybe we want approval, a boy or girl's approval, so we do things, we have sex, or we do things like that. So we also think that we only have one answer, just like the disciples. But the main point of this is that the disciples forget about God, as do we sometimes. Our initial reaction is to turn to these other things instead of God. But Jesus didn't forget about God, so he does this. Now I will read. So he knew that the disciples knew that he didn't have enough food. So then it says, taking the 5 loaves and the 2 fish and looking up to heaven, he gave thanks and broke the loaves. Then he gave them to his disciples to distribute to the people. He also divided the 2 fish among them all. They all ate and were satisfied. The number of men who had eaten was 5,000. So Jesus there was only, like I said, 5 fish and I think 12 loaves of bread. And he prayed up to God. He went to God first, and God provided for him to feed 5,000 people. That's a miracle in the definition of itself. So instead of accepting the disciples' answers and turning the people away, Jesus looked to God, and God rewarded him with a miracle, and he was able to fulfill these needs of these people. And if Jesus can be given this great miracle, then I think we need to imagine the power that he can have in our lives. So, like I talked about my first graders, they only have the capacity to try. Their minds only think about one solution to their problems. They've tried so many different things, but it's always these one things and these things that don't work. Obviously, you can see that they're just not working. So, I think we also, as people, have the capacity to realize that there are other answers to our problems, the problems that we have, besides maybe the things we've tried that haven't worked. That's kind of keep us going full circle. And I think that our answers and problems to this should be God. Because maybe if you don't know it, or if you do know it, that He will satisfy our needs and the needs that we have. So I just kind of challenge you to just think about the things that I've said, and maybe think about what life would be like if we did try a life with God, instead of some of the other things we go to. So now I'm going to pray, and then we're going to go to McDonald's. Pray that they have Dippin' Donuts. We'll see. Hey, God, I just thank you for today. I thank you for awesome things like the Hunger Games and Katniss, because she's just so cool. And I just thank you for all of our friends here who just come to hang out and who we just have so much fun with. And God, I just pray that you be with our friends, and that they just know that you love them so much, and that you're thinking about them. And I just pray that they can just have courage to look to you, and to see what this life is like when we go to you. So, in your name I pray. Amen.
Amen.